This is the Paul Toledo Show. I'm with you today, bringing you the news about General Motors heading to bankruptcy again. President Obama has been bailed them out one time. I don't think they should be bailed out a second time. But, you know, that's just me. That's just who I am. I don't see it happening. It should not happen. I was reading Forbes magazine the other day online, and I seen this article. It said General Motors is heading for bankruptcy again. I'm just going to read you the article. It says President Obama is proud of his bailout of General Motors. That's good, because if he wins a second term, he's probably going to have to bail out GM again. The company is once again losing market share, and it seems unable to develop products that are truly competitive in the U.S. market. Well, in my opinion, they need to do like what Ford did. Quit trying to develop cars over here in America and do like what all the others are doing. Join up with a European company, or in Chrysler's, an Italian company. That is working good. Ford is taking the cars that we love in Europe and bringing them over here. That seems like a great idea. And Chrysler has joined up, bought out by Fiat, an Italian car company, and so far that looks like it's worked for them. General Motors needs to start bringing their European-styled cars over here. They need to do something that will dramatically change the face of GM. And Chevrolet itself is just not going to do it. Chevrolet is probably the biggest reason they're going down the drain right now. I just don't see it happening. Right now, the federal government owns 500 million shares of GM, or about 26% of the company. It would need to get about $53 a share for these to break even on the bailout. But the stock closed at only $20.21 a share on Tuesday. This left the government holding $10.1 billion of stock and sitting on an unrealized loss of $16.4 billion. You see where our money's going? Do you see where the money of our government is going? It's going on a company that is not worth a crap. Excuse my language, but they're not. I don't care what you say. I don't matter what company I like. We can all see right now that we're losing $16.4 billion on a company. No. No. Right now, the government's GM stock is worth about 39% of what it was November 17th, 2010, when the company went public at $33 a share. However, during the intervening time, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has risen almost 20%. So GM shares have lost 49% of their value relative to the Dow. This, in my opinion, is sickening. We're losing money. If I was the government, I would pull out and say, this is your fault. You either fix it or you go. I would not spend money on a company that is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. We cannot keep bailing them out. It's doubtful that the Obama administration would attempt to sell off the government's massive position in GM while the stock prices are falling. It would be too embarrassing politically. Accordingly, if GM shares continue to decline, it is likely that Obama would ride the stock down to zero. See, we have the stupidest president, too, that will not get rid of something that is falling. He'll probably hold on to it till the stock is worth nothing and we up losing billions and billions of dollars more. Like our debt ain't high enough. Thank you, Obama. GM is unlikely to hit the wall before the election. But given current trends, the company could easily do so again before the end of the second Obama term. I am hoping and praying that Romney gets this, because if he does, I'm thinking he would do the right thing with General Motors. He bailed out Chrysler, and Chrysler got with Fiat, and Fiat is doing the right thing. Maybe General Motors should be bought by a new company. In the 1960s, GM averaged a 48.3% share of the U.S. car and truck market. For the first time in 7 months of 2012, their market share was 18%, down from 20% in the same period in 2011. With a loss of market share comes a loss of relative cost competitiveness. There is only so much market share that GM can lose before it would no longer have the resources to attempt a recover. Exactly. They can only do so much. If their market keeps falling, that's less income, that's less money they're going to have. Eventually, they're just going to go and fall off the map. To help understand why GM keeps losing market share, let's look at the saga of the Chevy Malibu. The Malibu is GM's entry to the automobile market's D segment. The D segment comprises mid-size, popularly priced family sedans like the Toyota Camry and the Honda Accord and the Ford Fusion. The D segment accounts for 14.7% of the total U.S. vehicle market in 2011 and 21.3% during the first 7 months of 2012. If GM is going to make it, they need to make a good family sedan. They're working on a new Malibu. They better hope that it is good enough to compete with the likes of the Toyota Camry, the Honda Accord, and the totally reinvented Ford Fusion. Because the D segment is the highest volume single vehicle class in the U.S., and the U.S. is GM's home market, it is difficult to imagine how GM could survive long term unless it can profitably develop, manufacture, and market a vehicle that can hold its own in the D segment. This is just what I was talking about. This is true not only because of the revenue potential of the D segment, but also because what an also-ran Malibu would say about GM's ability to execute at this time in its history. GM is in the process of introducing a totally reinvented, redesigned 2013 Chevy Malibu. It would compete in the D segment with, among others, the following: the Ford Fusion, totally redesigned and reinvented for 2013, the Honda Accord, totally redesigned for 2013, the Honda Sonata, totally redesigned for 2011, the Nissan Altima, totally redesigned in 2013, the Toyota Camry had a refresh in 2013, and the Volkswagen Passat, which was totally redesigned in 2012. Automobile technology is progressing so fast that the best vehicle in a given segment is usually just the newest design in that segment. Accordingly, if a car company comes out with a new, completely redesigned, it had better be superior to the older model by being offered by its competitors. If it is not, the company will spend the next 5 years, the usual time between major redesigns in this segment, losing market share and or offering costly initiatives to move the metal. I mean, people, they've had all this time to create a good Malibu, a good car, and they're not working on it. Duh. So at this point, it appears that the 2013 Malibu is not only inferior to the 2012 Volkswagen Passat, it's not even as good as the car it replaces, the 2012 Chevy Malibu. If you follow the automobile enthusiast press, you know that under the leadership of then product Bob Lutz, GM went out to develop a competitive D-segment car for the 2008 model year. This result was the 2008 Chevy Malibu, which was managed to be named Car and Driver. Also was mentioned as one of the top 10 best cars for 2008. However, when tested head-to-head against 6 other D-segment sedans in the March 2008 issue of Car and Driver, the 2008 Malibu came in third behind the Honda Accord and the Nissan Altima. Adjusted to the point scale the Car and Driver uses today, the 2008 Malibu scored 187 points, 6% lower than the winning 2008 Honda Accord, 198 points. Still, third was a respectable showing. The previous generation of the Malibu, a darling of rental car fleets, would have come in dead last in any D-segment comparison test. I mean, they don't even have a true hybrid vehicle. And today, you're going to need a true hybrid to be competitive. They have a mild hybrid. You don't need no mild hybrid to compete with today. That's not going to work. That's not going to cut it. Sure, it might get 37 miles per gallon if you're lucky, but a true hybrid will get 41, 43. That's a lot higher than 37. And they're not doing right, I'm telling you. They need, and part of theirs is they're making smaller vehicles. That's according to this right here. For years, automobile companies have been trying to design cars with the longest possible wheelbase distance between the front and rear axle for a given overall vehicle length. A longer wheelbase provides advantages to the areas of styling, ride, and legroom. General Motors is not doing that. They're going with short wheelbases. That's not helping. In my opinion, they need a whole new letter, a whole new manager, a whole new president of the company. They need a whole new people. After all, the 2013 Malibu has the shortest wheelbase in the entire D-segment cars. That's not good, people. That is not good. Not good at all. You're not going to do it. Even the Passat has more rear legroom. 3.5 inches longer than the Malibu. It's not good. I just don't understand it. I don't see how they keep doing this. See, as a company, General Motors peaked in 1965 when it commanded 50.7% of the U.S. market and made a stunning, for the time, $2.1 billion in after-tax profits, adjusted by the GTP deflator in 2011 dollars. GM made $12.1 billion in after-tax profits for $117.9 billion in revenue. In 1965, Volkswagen was tiny compared to GM. It produced only 1.6 million vehicles, about 22% of GM's 7.3 million. VW's total revenue was only 11% of General Motors. The most powerful engine you could get in the VW's family car, the Beetle, had 40 horsepower. The biggest engine you could get in GM's equivalent, the 1965 Chevy Impala, had 425 horsepower. For the first half of 2012, Volkswagen sold almost as many vehicles as GM did, 4.6 million versus 4.7 million. And its total revenue was much higher, $119.2 billion versus $75.4 billion for GM. Part of this is the result of current exchange rates, but VW had a significantly higher operating profit margin than GM, 6.8 versus 5.7. I just don't get it. They need to get their act together. See, will GM be able to turn itself around and save American taxpayers from losing $26.5 billion on Obama's bailout? This whole thing could almost be blamed on Obama for bailing them out in the first place. If this falls under, he's going to make us lose nearly $30 billion. That's $30 billion flushed down the drain. Do you know how many mouths you could feed with $30 billion? That could have been put on a lot better use. I just don't understand it. It makes me so